And a very good welcome back to the WCS Europe round of 16 Group A. Our final match is almost upon us, and Apollo is back with me. Terrific display by Vortex.
Yeah. The funny thing is I looked at today's group, and in my head I already said Vortex first place, but then after casting that I was like, oh yeah, I was right, but wait a minute. And it didn't really make sense because the series is so back and forth, and ForGG put up a really good fight.
Yeah, I mean, do you think in that third map that he should have won? Or do you think he definitely could have won, but should he have won?
Yeah, man. The position he was in, if he didn't lose so many units to the 3 Banelings it was a very different game, and I'm pretty sure he'd be a little bit upset about that.
Yeah, I mean, Vortex even said himself, he was quite honest about it. He thought the game had gone, and he thought, well, I'll try and counter and just see what I can get out of it. I think he truly thought, that's it, I'm done, it's gone. So
ForGG has these moments. They got the winner mines against Stefano, and then these 3 Banelings now.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It always seems to happen to him, but such is the sliver of defeat, if you like. It's moments like that really seem to make a difference. He said in his interview on the first game, actually, I said to him, why is it that you haven't been able to advance to round of 4 since the first season? What stops you? And he said, it's just little things. Just now and again, just little things happen like that. And this is yet another one. It does seem to happen to him.
Yeah, he's got to not let that affect him, that happened then, and not allow the thoughts from anything else that's effective in the past come through in this series. At the end of the day, it's him versus Harstem. And as much as Harstem did well in the round of 32 with a bunch of Terrans, on paper right now, ForGG beats Harstem. So he has to keep and stick with that. And if he doesn't, well, we could see another upset.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So let's talk about our next game, Harstem. Brilliant play earlier on. He's knocked out the #1 player in the world who is not Korean. Brilliant achievement for him, but it'll mean nothing if he doesn't get through this next game.
Yeah, it's really sad. The position he's in is very difficult, but he's confident, and that's a big key as he gives me the multiple thumbs up. It's a big part of StarCraft to be able to confidently believe in yourself, which he seems to have done a lot. And I really think now, I think if this was a different season, it would be harder for him. But his round of 32 practice is going to come to play again. So he needs to think back to what was successful then, how he made it work then, and how he was able to advance through in first place in a group he was meant to be last place. And if he can do that, then he can beat ForGG. Yeah,
I remember meeting him for the first time at Home Story Cup, I think about a year ago now, and he struck me as being very nervous, very not confident, and yet when you watched him play, you thought, there's something about him. The way he plays is genuinely, he looks like a top player. You just couldn't quite put your finger on it. And I remember having a conversation with him and saying, you should be more confident. Your play's great. It's there's some really good stuff in there. And I remember that conversation when we were sat up the stairs earlier on, and I said to him, are you confident? He went, yep. And then he went, maybe. And it was kind of like a little...
It's like whatever the real answer is, it's yes anyway.
Yes, yeah, he's kind of come a long way because he's instantly answering yes, but he does need that confidence now. And against a player of ForGG's caliber, do you think he just, again, plays the man rather than the race? Because he seems to be quite good at doing that.
I think he will. I think he'll add that element in, but a lot of his practice is against the whole race in total from the round of 32, which would be probably quite a bit of his game now, but definitely has to add in elements against ForGG. So he's got to be ultra defensive against a player at ForGG. Watch out for timings, watch out for SCV pulls, because they are going to be quite common, I would imagine, in this series, and aim for the late game. If he aims for the late game like he did last time in the round of 32, drag it out long, then find the victory there, I think it's possible.
So on my notes below me, Carmack has written Heart Sunderland FC, which is, I will take that up with him later. Swine. It's like, red rag to a Newcastle fan. But more importantly, my notes also tell me that Harstem is currently 5-0 down in matches and 8-1 in maps to ForGG. He's got to put that out of his mind.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he didn't hear that, because that is difficult to look at sometimes. There's a lot of players in the Premier League that have a major losing record versus ForGG, it seems. That doesn't come into play right now.
Okay, well, we're into the map veto. Habitation's already gone. Merry-go-round's the next. Are we going to see some way station in Group A? I don't believe we are, but hope springs eternal.
I like merry-go-round. It's difficult to take a third base. Lots of space for SCV pulls and big attacks.
Yeah, so way station does go by the wayside. So What is it to be here? Frost and Overgrowth look like the likely two to be played, and then it's between King Sejong Station and Alta Zim.
Yeah, probably getting
Stronghold.
rid of maybe King Sejong maybe here for Harstem. I'm pretty sure he'd like to play on Altazim and like to play on Frost. So
I mean, ForGG's played Alta Zim twice already tonight. He's going to play it a third time. Well, potentially, if it's not the third map and he can win 2-0, then we won't. But it is Frost, Overgrowth, and Alta Zim, or as we now know it as Alta Zim Station, according to Kalaris.
we do have these 3 maps a lot.
We do.
We do have these
seem
3
to have
maps a
these
lot.
3. So,
They're good. It's actually good.
Overgrowth-
It's good.
Overgrowth first, Frost second, Alta Zim third. So, yeah, not. I would say that's pretty open for both players, isn't it?
I prefer this map pool for Harstem, especially ending on Altazim. So if we can get to game 3, then he's got a really good shot because Altazim's a really difficult map for Terran against Protoss. It's a good Protoss map. So game 3 is important. And Harstem, I believe, has it in him to win at least one of the first 2 games. Then that would push him to the 3rd. Then he's got a good shot.
Okay. The way that the groups panned out, we said that we thought Vortex was probably the favourite in the group, but I think everyone else had Snoop going through in second place, other than the Terrans, obviously, amongst us, or who hoped that 4GG would go through. There is only one other in the tournament left, and that's Yoda. He plays tomorrow in Group B. So how important is it for the Terrans to be well represented in the quarterfinals, or do you not think that really matters right now?
All right, this could sound completely biased, but I think that StarCraft, the most epic games, have seemed to involve Terrans more so than not. Let's put it that way, to try and lower the flames. Terran is underrepresented. It's important for 4G to go through. And also, if you look at from the Korean versus Europe aspect too, we could see the first Korean eliminated already. And it's very close between Europe and Korea right now.
Yeah, 9-7 coming into the round of 16, and losing one straight away would be a tough blow for the Koreans, wouldn't it? They've got 2 in each of the groups in B, C, and D, so I guess you could say it's still got a decent shot of getting plenty through to the quarterfinals. Again, how important do you think it is, the whole Korean-European matchup? We've talked about how competitive the ladder is and how potentially how much the Koreans have helped us improve that ladder and improve the other player, the Europeans. But when it comes down to it, we've still not seen a European win a championship since December 2012.
So Terran going through is important. Korea going through right now, not so much, I don't think. I think it's better, obviously, if Harstem goes through, because it not only is another reason for someone to cheer for a European player, but also it shows every other European player out there who isn't in the Premier League yet that it's possible, and Harstem shows that. So I think it's a good motivation factor.
Yeah. Final question. We saw Snoop just rattle through the IEM qualifiers, taking out 4 Koreans and very good Koreans in a row. He hasn't made it out of the group. What does that say about the strength of European players right now?
European players are really strong, much more so than they've ever been. The entire skill level has just increased in the Europe scene, and Harstem being on the stage now, compare that to a year or 2 ago is a big factor as well. I mean, that's just proof up there. Snoop being knocked out, they're all really, really good, and StarCraft in Europe is in pretty good shape right now.
Okay, thank you very much, Apollo. Almost time for our final game of Group A. It is Harstem versus 4GG for the final place in the round of 8. Let's go over to the commentary team of the Muslim and Kalaris.
All right, thanks very much, guys. Final series of the night now, and it's a bit of a change up of things as we have PVT to determine who is going to be that second spot in the round of 16.
That we do. And Harstem, he's no slouch in this matchup. Like, to get here where he is now, he was in a group with Jack G, Yoda, and Bunny.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly did not think Harstem was going to get out of that group. But
not a lot of people did.
He obliterated that group. He really did. And for good reason. Once he realized what that group was, I remember while it was being streamed, the announcement, as soon as it got streamed, he messaged me for GGs. I'm pretty sure he messaged every Terran in Europe for GGs, and he just played only Terran for 2 weeks because he's completely stopped laddering. So he's totally prepared for 4GG, I'd imagine. Yeah,
I think he comes into this with that whole fresh mindset of round of 32. It went well. Look, I was able to defeat Bunny and Jack G pretty well. It was 2-1 in the end, but now we find out if he can go the whole hog, if he makes it to the round of 8, what an accomplishment that would be. Spawn down to the bottom left-hand corner, we have that man himself as our red Protoss representing Fnatic. It's Harstem. In the group,
Dr. Dre.
And up the top right-hand corner, we have our blue Terran representing Millennium. It's 4GG.
I really love the bounce that Harstem has going.
Yeah.
I've never really seen him do that before, but it seems to be working out for him. Like initially when he played Vortex and didn't go that well, I was like, Harstem, get it together, like be cool, be calm, but kept on doing it against Snoot and it worked out really, really well. But yeah, I'm really impressed with Harstem's play today, actually. He came through.
For Harstem, it's all about rhythm, apparently. Getting into it, getting into the swing of things.
And even when he makes a mistake, it's a really good mistake, it turns out, making the second Warp Prism and stuff, utilized it completely well, and now he's against ForGG in the, well, to go through to the top 8 in WCS. That's pretty big.
Yeah, keeps that rhythm going, even with the mistake. It's like in music, as you know, if you do make a mistake, you're doing a live performance, just don't acknowledge it, keep going, most people won't even recognize it.
Just keep going. And here we have a 13 gate for Harstem. It's pretty normal. Going for a scout, though, very early on. So that makes me think that he's a little unfamiliar with how ForGG plays, maybe. ForGG he's quite a predictable dude. Although I told Harstem a while ago at Home Story Cup, actually, because I thought he was going to play ForGG.
Yep.
ForGG doesn't scout with his Reaper. Like, he won't scout with an SCV either, usually, but here, is he mixing things up already? So yeah, for a while, he wasn't scouting with an SCV or a Reaper. He was using his Reaper just sitting outside his base and just literally sitting outside his base until the 5-minute 30 mark and not really doing anything, but already I see that he's doing something else, so I'm glad that Harstem didn't take my advice, truly.
Well, yeah, that'll be good for Harstem here. The SCV is going to head over there and get a good eye on what's going on. And if he only sees one gas, ForGG will feel a little bit more comfortable about what's going on. It's like the MC mentality. MC almost always opens up with double gas. And then he kind of puts the fear of God in his opponents because they never know what he's going to do. But, well, this is already spotting down here with the probe.
Yeah, I guess the fact that the SCV didn't go into the main base is kind of cool. Kind of weird. I guess he just wanted to go for an engineering bay block or just a block of any sort here, but Harstem timed that out really well. At first I was like, that second probe is going down there way too early, given the other one's coming way back from the base, but he anticipated what he was going to do with the SCV and sent out the probe, dealt with the SCV, and gets his Nexus up pretty quickly, actually. So nice play already by Harstem here.
Yeah, there was never any kind of build-up of minerals past that 400, you're right. And this Reaper is now going to head on in, have a look around. So sees the mothership core pop in, sees how much gas has been mined on this.
A little bit of a missed micro by Harstem there, actually. We saw that the mothership core, even just for a moment, started trying to move left instead of the probe, but that was enough time for the Reaper to get another shot off and kill that probe. So immediately, you never want to lose a probe as a Protoss, and you shouldn't actually lose a probe at all. But you know, it happened in this situation, and now this Reaper's really going to town, and he's being 2 probes down.
And he's going to get away. Ooh. If he jukes and jives, probes. Fight.
Yeah, they more often than not, they won't get the surround, so it's kind of like mismining even more. And when the Reaper gets away with that as well, it's terribly, terribly annoying for the Protoss.
Yeah, he was being really he was overstaying his welcome with that Reaper for a while, but then decides to jump out in the end. And Robo's gone down here for Harstem off the back of all of this. So it's a pretty standard opener here from Harstem. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes down the same direction he did in the entirety of his round of 32. He never deviated from the game plan he had in the round of 32, which was Robo and eventually Robo Bay.
We're going to see a Stargate this game.
Oh, is he going to? You just saw it queued up.
No, I promise. My screen's been still, but
oh, but he saw it.
He did. That's incredibly unfortunate. And another probe goes down, and he's seen
3
everything.
probes.
Cancels the Stargate upon seeing that. So I like that cancel. But so far, everything's gone wrong that could go wrong for Harstem this game. The Stargate. He wanted him to actually scout the Robo. Then he wanted to come out with the Stargate and use the Oracle to attack much later on in the game. And this move out by ForGG. It's a relatively normal move out. It's going to be a couple of Stalkers on the field which can deal with it, especially with the Mothership Core, with Planetary Nexus. But losing 3 probes, getting everything scouted, ForGG can't be feeling more confident than he does right now, I'd imagine. It's gone terribly so far for Harstem.
Doing all right for himself. Did he ever see the Robo? I think he did, right? So,
yeah, he saw the Robo.
Quite a while ago. So that's good for him. Robo Bay gets added on from here as well. Lack of Forge for now. Would love to see that come in at some point so that he can get those upgrades going. But again, we've still seen players like Harstem, etc., eventually add that Forge along with the Twilight Council in tandem with one another to start those upgrades.
One guy that I'm, excuse me, that I'm particularly fond of on this map's play is Wellmood, and he always goes for like some 2-base heavy aggression kind of build with Colossi, Blink Stalkers and such. So you know, maybe he takes a page out of his book, given that everything else has gone so wrong in this game, but who knows?
We'll see what he does in terms of like probe counts and things. He's at 41 so far, so adding on more and more, and then eventually just again cranking out those upgrades. I think he might be angling at that 3rd base, but you know, we'll find out. Doesn't want to lose Stalkers though.
Quite a few things going wrong past in this game. Then that observer's just kind of sat there, got an observer over to the left side too.
Whoa!
That was a very early planetary nexus right there. Is this observer just going to stay there? I'm kind of curious.
I guess he's just going to chill for a while.
One observer on the left side, one observer kind of outside the natural here, and a 3rd observer going into the main. So Harstem definitely not taking ForGG lightly, wants to see everything that he possibly can this game.
Yeah, at least he sees the progression of his opponent's infrastructure once again. Drops a scan, sees everything that's going on, sees the extra 2 gateways, and again, ForGG is going to probably be quite comfortable in the knowledge of he sees a normal build out of Harstem at the moment.
Normal build, no Oracle killing him yet. Did he even produce turrets in his mineral lines, actually? Yes, he did. So at least Harstem has that going for him with the build that he initially went for. But a very, very early medevac move out here. Only 1 medevac with units in, though. I'm not sure if that those 6 Marines that are tracing that medevac across the map was a little bit of a mistake there, but yeah.
The depot of the
no, not at all. It wasn't.
Oh, spots it though. And this is always good in PvT to actually have all these observers in the right places to be able to spot whenever something like this is going to come in. You don't want to be dropping in there anytime soon. That's some good defense so far by Harstem.
Solid defense indeed. The observers saw everything. And ForGG, given that he's gone for medevacs this early, Harstem, he knows what kind of build he went for, which was a 2x, but
Getting a bit cocky, or just gets away.
That would have been really big for Harstem, really big. Given that if he did kill that medevac, the fact that ForGG was on 2 racks for so long, reinforcements, like it's not a 4th and 5th barracks before the 3rd, it's a very early 3rd. He could have maybe counter-pushed, given that he's getting a 3rd Colossus on the way here, but it did not die.
Yeah, it really takes a long while there to replenish off the back of what you're saying. But, you know, at least for ForGG, he started his Viking count quite quickly. Off the back of 3 medevacs, actually, during all of this.
Great scouting, by the way, by ForGG. That Marine ran over just as the 3rd Nexus was going up and saw it. So, you know, he's on the ball here. He knows exactly what he's up against, and it's not really that scary when you know what you're up against. If this was kind of a Wellman that you're playing, you'd be like, oh dear, is that 3rd Nexus coming up? But he knows it is, and he's got a much bigger army than Harstem too.
And always the attempt at the drops, but those do have blinks, so they're going to try and bait that in, and they do get that. That was a nice move by Harstem, just making sure that that medevac would always come into the danger zone and trying to push at the 3rd base, but with that many Colossi there, he's actually going to focus one down. A force field tries to disrupt that, but he's not controlling the Colossi properly. They're all going to fall. Oh, ForGG, absolutely opportunistic in his abilities.
He really is, and I mean, he lost a lot doing that, but killing 3 Colossi, they don't just spring out of nowhere. You can't lava inject that robotics and get 5 Colossi at once, but no, that was a really good trade for ForGG. He's got his 3rd up much earlier than his opponent. He lands all his Vikings here, so he really wants to pile on pressure with this one.
Yeah, he knows that there's not going to be any Colossi there, or if there was, it would only be 1 during all of this. As he now pushes forwards once again, those Zealots do not have charge, quite far away. It's 1-1 upgrades here against the 0-1 of the Protoss, and those Stalkers blinking back quite ferociously, trying to keep themselves alive. But against this firepower here from ForGG, he's trading great.
Oh, and this Mothership core joins the fight pretty late too. I guess it died before or something, but here, ForGG is just kind of walking over Harstem, and this army doesn't die very fast. This 3rd Nexus under fire, and GG is called. Harstem, too many things went wrong for him that game. They really did. Right from the get-go, losing 3 probes, having everything scouted straight away by that Reaper. That Reaper single-handedly won ForGG the game.
Yeah.
Like, he made lots of other good moves and stuff too, but that Reapers don't usually do as well as he did.
If at the 3rd base, if it had played out a little bit longer and there had been a bit more control on the Colossi and bringing them back, maybe some force fields to add on, would that have, you know, kind of kept things going? And
yeah, anticipating that the army was going to march at you, but most Terrans, when they see 3 Colossi, when you have no Vikings, yeah, it's kind of like, do I really want to mess with that? Because they kind of own, but ForGG, man, he plays YOLO style. He really goes and commits. And almost overcommits a lot of the time, but this time made the right call and won in the game.
And that was scary. If an opponent's going to do something like that, then Harstem now has to reevaluate his position on the third or something like that. And our next map is going to be Frost, a place where your third, technically, you know, depending on which one you're going to end up taking, can still be a little bit vulnerable. So there's not as many places to force field off is what I'm trying to get at. Because the third on Overgrowth, I feel you can force field it off pretty nicely if something like that would come along.
You certainly can, but Frost has been around for a much longer period of time. Harstem smiling, doesn't really matter. I like that he keeps himself upbeat, listening to music, jiving.
Yeah, yeah.
Smiling.
Pretty upbeat, yeah.
Like, he's obviously a little disappointed given he shakes his head, but this is how Harstem does it. He loses the first map, then wins the next two. In fact, did he lose the first map against Snoot? He did. It was on Frost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe. I can't quite recall.
Yeah. I think he did.
I'm going to say yes, Ben.
Oh man, my memory is fading. I only watched that like an hour ago. But Harstem, you know, that wasn't the best of Harstem, but ForGG definitely got off to a very good start here in this series.
Alrighty, game number 2 now. Find out if Harstem can tie it at 1 apiece. Alright, ForGG can take it to 2-0. Spawning up to the top left-hand corner, we have our red Protoss battling to survive here in the round of 16. It's Fnatic's Harstem. That eyebrow raise. He's like, well, here we go again.
I really like watching Harstem.
Yeah?
I don't just mean his play, I mean mainly him. He just looks really cool.
He's an entertaining guy. And spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner, we have a very aggressive guy in StarCraft representing Millennium. It is ForGG.
ForGG played nothing but solid that game. Like, again, the Reaper. Frick me. I wish my Reapers did what his Reaper did. Scout everything and kill 3 probes.
3 probes is big. I was like when it was dancing around against the Mothership core at the beginning. Normally, I don't even think that they're going to get a probe because I just don't see it too much. But then 3, it's nice.
Yeah, ForGG obviously well practiced in this matchup. Microed very well and knew when to commit. 3 Colossi, but Harstem waiting for the medevacs to really commit and then blinking under them and killing them. That was smart and nice, but really, he was kind of a dog that already got kicked in that game. Like, it wasn't going well for him.
Well, what do you think about these spawning positions here on Frost, Muslim?
I'd say these are pretty good. I mean, you can always go straight. Well, for the Terran, they're pretty good. Like, you can drop the natural, like, very directly. But I think the best position is spawning top right, given then you have the choice of attacking the natural or dropping the main. Just gives you so much more, and then the Protoss can't take that third base at the top.
I mean, conversely, on the other side of things, do you think that it's okay for Protoss as well, these spawning positions, as they would only really have to kind of defend their natural from the drop play, and then if ForGG would go around, it would take quite a while to drop?
If I play Wellmu in these positions, I hate life, because it's so it's so short. He can just kind of march over to my base with a few Colossi and job's done.
Wait a minute, I have to ask, is Wellmu your metric for PvT?
Yeah, like... You know, you play your Harstems of the world, and it's like, okay, it's going to go on for a good while because he's going to make a 3rd Nexus. Yeah. Wellmu, I have no idea what he's going to make against me, and that is one of the scariest Protosses I can imagine. Really nice by Harstem, by the way, hiding that that probe right there. So he is going to get down a Nexus very, very early without it being blocked.
Came back in at just the right time, and now this SCV is going to dawdle on down to that natural and be a bit sad. Poor little fella.
Yeah, but I mean, gets away with his life intact, which is always a nice thing. So we're seeing a very standard opening by both these guys. How many guys are kept on gas for ForGG? Is that... I think he just kept them all on gas?
Yeah, looks like it.
Okay, that's reasonable, I guess.
Oh,
going up to the engineering bay.
Yeah, this is a very MMA-esque style.
MMA/innovation/ real. Like the Pro League Terrans love this build. Yeah, a few people like this build, but I remember seeing MMA even before in Wings of Liberty doing this kind of build. So it's MMA-esque.
There we go. We found out. It's all good. That +1 weapons helps out quite a bit in the ensuing battles because Protoss is always rushing up to that +1 armor. So counteracting that is always good.
Yeah, and this is a relatively normal, like, in fact, it's pretty much the same build that ForGG did the previous game. The Reaper not dealing the damage that it did in the game prior, though, which is always a big win for Harstem, given that the Reaper in the last game was Rambo himself. Stalker is out, Mothership Core's out, not taking damage, and Robo going down. So very, very standard build for both players here.
What do you think Harstem does? Do you think he kind of skips the idea of a Stargate and goes more into the same build as before, but without a little bit of a delay?
Harstem is one of the most standard Protosses that I've ever played. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that he's very, very solid. He's going to take 3 bases, and he's going to do it very, very well and very, very safely. When he plays ideal, he is kind of like the European Rain. In that he'll play as standard as possible, but as solid as possible too. There's just no kinks in his armor.
Yeah. Not just solid, but rock hard. Rock hard.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that +1 weapons will finish up in just a little bit here for ForGG. Give him a little bit of punch behind anything that he wants to do. But it's kind of difficult in general to push out against a Protoss at this particular time because of for an overcharge and things like that. Is he just going to wait for medevacs before he really does anything, or?
Given that he's only gone for 2 barracks with this build, and yet again, you usually get your starport up very, very fast and go for a double medevac drop. And ForGG, once you see him do a build once, he's very much like happy, like he'll do the same build multiple times if he thinks it's going to work. And I mean, it worked the first game very, very well for him. Little supply blocks here and there for ForGG, getting a couple of depots up at the same time. But yeah, I think we'll see the same build exactly. So +1 weapons is already done for him by the time the first Forge starts for Harstem. So upgrade-wise, he's doing very well with this build.
It's nice. It's really carved out very, very well. And Harstem from here on out is just, again, going to the same build. So with all that lined up and good to go, I don't suspect ForGG is going to get quite as lucky to be able to snipe out a few Colossi this time. I think Harstem's going to play it a bit more safe. He knows his tournament life is on the line. So this one could go much longer than the last one, I think.
It certainly could. And ForGG, he's playing relatively risky with his build, given that there's no bunker at the front even, but you know, he kind of sniffed something and he was like, okay, I'm gonna put a turret at the front just so I don't die to something like DTs, because that would be awful for him. So, you know, he skips corners here and there, but overall still plays safe. Harstem, by the way, sneaked in with that observer, just got the information he needed and then ran away. Doesn't want to get sniped, because a lot of these Korean Terrans especially are very good at seeing the observers, like the little blurs, and picking it off. So nice by Harstem right there.
Total Hawkeyes. And ForGG was moving those Marines down just in case he cut corners on getting out by the looks of things. And if he saw the blur going down, then he could have actually dropped a scan and sniped it out. But for now, we just have medevacs on the way, armory being added on so he can go up to 2-2 eventually. Did he add on a second engineering bay at all, or is he just sticking with the 1?
Just sticking with the 1.
Okay.
The way this build usually goes, so they get the armory, then they go up for the 3rd base after, but they get the +2 insanely fast. Works out very, very well. You don't have the gas to afford the second engineering bay, really, but did he...
I'm not sure.
Did he totally avoid that observer? I don't think Harstem saw it, actually.
If he did totally avoid that one, he is a wizard, but it doesn't matter now, as there is another observer there to be able to spot that out.
The all-seeing Harstem.
Yeah, he does well with this.
Oh, if he can get... Oh!
Ooh, one volley. Oh, that last shot. What a fantastic snipe out there by Harstem. And everything's isolated and killed off.
Yeah, great micro on the stock as well. And had to scan to see what was going on here.
Wow.
So Harstem's got to be happy with that.
Yeah, ForGG on the other side of things really doesn't see anything out of the ordinary.
Oh,
so,
he even cancelled that, so he's worried about an all-in here.
Yeah. I wonder what really triggered that. I mean...
So he saw the scan, and how many gateways did he really see with that scan? So he sees 5 gateways there, sees just a single Forge and a Twilight Council. Yeah, why not? But Harstem, he is the 3-base Protoss, man.
Yeah.
He's no Wellmu.
Yeah, and you know, that being cleaned up, that Marine being cleaned up, I should say, ForGG is preparing for an attack that just isn't coming, and he's delayed his own economy for an attack that isn't really coming, because the probes are in production.
I'm always going to talk about Wellmu when it comes to this matchup, but like, if you play on European ladder and you played against Wellmu, you know the threat of when you scan a base like that, you know that you're in trouble against Wellmu. So the fact that ForGG took that very, very seriously, I don't blame him, but the fact that he went for such a risky 3rd on the 3rd anyway, in a forward position like he did, I think going for the 3rd at the back here, just in case you were scared of an all-in in the first place, would have been probably a smarter choice.
ForGG is aggressive as ever. He's going to defend and attack all down the same path at the same time. by the looks of things. Templar Archives has started up here for Harstem, though, so he is getting up to his prime composition. He's got charge on the way as well, meaning that if he's allowed room to get to Storm, then that's when it becomes really, really dodgy for ForGG, and I literally mean he will have to dodge quite a bit.
This is a great situation for Harstem, by the way. Like, his third is much earlier than the Terrans, which that's a great situation to be in. He's got a decent Stalker count against his Vikings, got a decent Colossi count against his Vikings too, and this army for ForGG, if he catches Harstem out of position, it is scary, but Harstem, I don't think he's going to let that happen. He really is the solid Protoss, getting charged, getting Storm. Great transition by him.
The timer has now begun. Storm is on the way. It was being chrono boosted to begin with. Tries to blink forward to snipe out a Viking, trying to alleviate a little bit of the pressure that we're seeing here. But as that Storm comes closer and closer to completion, that really does narrow the time down that ForGG can really do anything with the army.
Mortals coming out here for Harstem, so I guess that he's kind of worried about a huge flock of SCV/Vikings, like a big all-in, and what survives against that? Well, Immortals do survive, given that all your Colossi end up falling, but the Storm Immortal Archon combo that you can come out afterwards, it's very, very stocky, and MC's been putting it to really good use, and if your Terran opponent overmakes Vikings, then it's great. It's a great transition.
And I love... It's a very minor thing, but I love all the positioning of the buildings from Harstem in terms of the Twilight Council, Templar Archives, and Forge, because when it comes to Chrono Boost, you just Chrono Boost all of that in around the 3, because you're getting the Zealot charge near around the time you're getting Storm, always going to be Chrono Boosting into the Forge as well. So it saves a little bit of time, and wow, second Forge through all of this.
I like the second Forge. His Terran opponent is approaching +3 weapons damage, and I mean, getting damage and armor for a Protoss is always great. These Zealots getting ready for a run by, so was he anticipating his opponent expanding down here? I guess maybe, but never happened. But one thing about having all your buildings in one location too, like one of the downsides is if it gets scanned.
Can be vulnerable.
Or it can be vulnerable, it also gets scanned and scouted. Ghosts coming out onto the field too, so. But look at Harstem's supplies, 190 supply against 150 supply. Terran, this never happens, and I don't think ForGG, I mean, I don't think Harstem has any idea how far ahead he is right now.
Yeah, especially with the quality of army. I mean, technically the upgrades is a bit of a foreshadowing point to that, but still, it's 10 Vikings against 3 Colossi, and 6 High Templars in there against those 3 Ghosts. Those EMPs are going to have to be really on point if he wants to shut this army down.
They certainly do, and I mean, Harstem's army doesn't look that big there, but he's got a few Zealots on the left side, a few at the bottom moving in too, ready to cut off reinforcements here, but ForGG sniffed it out and pounces on that, but this just gives Harstem time to move into position over here.
Doing all right for himself. More Zealots going to come in from the left-hand side. He doesn't have...
One Storm goes down.
Okay.
EMP'd, I believe, afterwards.
The other High Templars are at the back though, right? So they are being saved for the Storms. He's trying to draw his opponent away so the Zealots can get in once again and do a little bit of harassing.
This is great play by Harstem. He's stretching ForGG thin. I think he even ran Zealots up to the main too. Forced to lift his third. He's putting ForGG in a terrible location here. You never want to fight at your natural, given that it's so tight.
Yeah, this is very difficult for him. Guardian Shield is going to soak up quite a bit if this fight ever ensues, but he's just picking away at him. And this is something that Harstem did. Oh, it's the Harstem cannons. They're back. They were here in the round of 32, and now they're back in the round of 16.
Oh, he did this?
Yeah. Oh, yes, he did.
Whenever a Protoss can get away with doing this aggressively, it's great, but that was a very aggressive blink for these High Templars.
Very, very bold. That army, whoa, nice Storm. Does catch a lot of that bio. He's got to be very, very careful about eating all these Storms.
Oh, that last Storm there did a lot of damage, and he really has to run away.
Harstem almost kind of baited him into that location. He's like, well, if you don't deal with this like wall that I'm setting up now, then you're not going to be able to breach it for a long time.
Yeah. DT's coming in too for Harstem, or at least a Dark Shrine, but yeah, he really did bait him. I mean, it's not a position that you want to fight in. Oh, that was a bit of a blink that wasn't good.
He's running out of Stalkers, and he's running out of Gateway units in general. Now, if this army actually splits forward and tries to deal with it, lots of EMPs blanket the majority of that Protoss army if he deals with the Zealots. But then again, another High Templar enters the fray. I'm wondering actually if it doesn't have energy for this. The bio is trading off okay against this, I guess.
For Harstem, I mean, he's losing a lot of his army, and if he can kill these last 2 Colossi, then great. But and actually he does. He holds it. Holds it very well, in fact. He took a lot of Storms and stuff, but That upgrade lead that he has.
The one strength that I saw from Harstem in the round of 32 is that he actually never took straight-up engagements for a long time against Terrans. He was always trying to draw his opponent away and then go for the Zealot harassment. But the aggressive stance he took then, and was willing to take that fight, with those aggressive blinks as you were mentioning, maybe he feels a little bit overzealous here in this game.
I think that was a little too eager, yeah. ForGG took complete advantage of all those Stalkers blinking in right there, and he sees this army with his factory, and it isn't that scary. Like, you still have to be careful when you walk around the map because of these High Templars that Harstem's spreading out very nicely, actually. That's a good move. But this Zealot runs in, sees those 3 medevacs coming over, so great scouting by Harstem. A little unfortunate for ForGG there.
It's a good start from him. He has a High Templar there, tries to land a feedback on one of them. Nexus will shoot down a little bit of the damage on them, but aside from that, he does find a little bit of a location. Zealot's not really able to deal with that so easily, and the Robo goes down.
Got the Robo, drops on the Colossi with a couple of Marauders too. Are they going to get it?
Oh, it looks like they may do, but even if they don't, very close. Third, now pressured. Storm will hit one of those ghosts and actually kill it off in the end, but now all over Harstem like a swarm. He is actually just sitting on top.
Oh, DT's coming in the fray now too for Harstem though. They're both making this so difficult for one another.
Yeah, just aggression. ForGG dips in terms of supply. Harstem now with his Zealot run-bys tries to do a little bit more damage over at the third.
Yeah, and these Zealots are dealing a lot of damage. They're pretty darn hard to deal with. I mean, ForGG's doing a great job with his rally, but ForGG had to kind of run home. Gets a drop on the right side, I guess, ready for later. But yeah, they're both making each other work for this.
Yep, dead even in terms of supply now, with Harstem having a little bit more money to his name, so he can warp in and reinforce against this. He has a Storm and does catch a lot of that bio. Second Storm tries to catch it as well. And dealing with these Zealots is a whole new pain. So Harstem doing really well in this game, and even pushing him away in the middle of the map, I think. That's just the factory.
Oh, the factory.
Oh, I saw something blinking.
It's all good, but yeah, Harstem playing exceptional here. He's got a 4th base, and there's kind of a rule in this matchup. Like Terran, if they do take bases, extra bases, you always have to do it a little bit faster than your opponent, and Harstem sees everything. Like, that's one real great play about him. Just sees everything that happens.
Yeah, the Dark Templar on the Watchtower was really irritating for ForGG, having to drop a scan just to clean that up, and he does in the end, knowing that information is very important here in this game as he tries to draw Harstem thin, but the Zealots are holding strong. He can bring his entire army up once he's bought time with them, but this is a good move by ForGG.
Oh! Eating a few storms in the process though, and that storm kind of missed absolutely everything. But look at the supplies. Harstem's winning this game, and he's winning it in style.
ForGG never took a 4th, and he wasn't able to. He's now trying to fly his main command center over to that 4th location.
DTs again dealing damage.
Jeez, how many workers has he killed? 37 during all of this. Scan goes down to clean it up, but the damage has been done.
Harstem's playing some of the most annoying PvT you can imagine. He's taking full advantage of everything he can. Great positioning, High Templars in good locations, spreading them out, Colossi play, DTs even. People forget about DTs, but they are so good.
They are. These Marauder heavy composition isn't really bearing the brunt of this, unfortunately. So many workers died once again. Harstem is 100 supply up at this point and kills off the base. So now, Harstem has this game by the reins. GG.
Well played by Harstem. And I think he needs some water after that one, because he played very well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a totally different game. That looked like a totally different player than the first game. First game, the Reaper came in, saw and conquered. This game though, didn't let that happen, played solid, kept in his groove. Like, Harstem really feels like a guy that has to keep rhythm, you know, like the first game of the series, he got spanked. Second game, played an absolutely solid game. There's nothing really to criticize, apart from a few blinks that were a bit excessive here and there, but even that.
They didn't exactly win him the wars in those games, that's for sure. But you're right, I think that also we have to consider the fact that, or at least I believe, I don't know, you can contest this if you like, that in game one, if those 3 Colossi hadn't died, it could have gone a different way. The game could have played out longer, and we could have seen Harstem get to the position that he was in there in game number 2 as well.
Yeah, we definitely could have. We don't really know what would have happened afterwards, but if they did stay alive and he killed that little bit of an army, ForGG still had a third going up. This game, it was just a different Harstem. He just played so right in every way. preventing drops, even early on. One of those early drops from ForGG. Not only did he have to leave the Marines behind, the 6 Marines or so, he actually killed one of the medevacs as well. So really good play by Harstem. And if he keeps up this solid play, we could actually see him making the top 8, which would be absolutely phenomenal for him.
That would be a massive achievement.
Yeah.
I mean, the round of 16 here already is... I'm right in saying it's the highest position he's attained in a tournament.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of its prestige. This is WCS Europe. This is the pinnacle of performance in the European region when it comes to our region. But the thing is if he gets round of 8, then that is monumental for this guy who it's his premier debut, really. This is a guy that hasn't really done much in Europe, but is now looking at top 8 in WCS Europe. That's
I mean, not much in European WCS, and I guess like if you're not there, where are you? But you know, he comes in really, really strong. Annihilated his round of 32 group and knocked out Snoot here. He's 1-1 with one of the best Terrans living in Europe right now. Like Harstem, he's made a fan of me.
Yeah, he's doing really well.
I liked him a lot before too, but like no, he's
like
really
him even
impressed.
more now.
Yeah, he's really impressing me with his play. He's very, very solid.
Yeah, certainly. All right, countdown's begun for our 3rd map. One thing's for sure is that it's worked out for Harstem. He didn't really want to have to play Vortex again.
No.
And he's got his matchup that he wants. And now we go to a final map, which is Altazim's Stronghold, to find out which one of these players is going on to the round of 8. Could be good for Harstem if he plays it outright, as we have him spawning up to the top left-hand corner as our red Protoss. Representing Fnatic, it's Harstem. Down to the bottom right-hand corner, our Korean representative of the group, looking to advance on in the war between Europe and Korea. Representing Millennium, it is ForGG.
And Altazim as the 3rd map here. This is one that I wouldn't really want to play Harstem on, but also this benefits Harstem's style so much, given that it's cross-map as well. He wants the Terran as far away from him as possible until he wants to be in the Terran's face with all these counterattacks and stuff. And here, you don't really get maps bigger than Altazim, especially cross-map. So immediately, upon Harstem scouting his opponent, he's going to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think Altazim's Stronghold is probably the biggest map outside of... what was that map called? That massive one that was in GSL for a while that nobody liked.
Oh, a massive one? The only big one I can think of was Whirlwind, but that was pretty good.
The name doesn't spring to mind anymore. I don't know why, because it was on the tip of my tongue just before, but it was blue as well. It was a lot of paths, and Protoss love to force field off everywhere.
Have you seen that map with all the rocks? That's pretty huge too.
Maze?
Is it Maze?
That one?
Yeah.
Is it Pro League?
It is Pro League.
It was in for like one round of Pro League, and then it disappeared, I think.
Good.
It was kind of weird.
I liked seeing carriers on that map, but you know, it only happened once or twice. But okay, ForGG here. So he's going for a 1 Rax expand by the looks of it, which is already a bit of a weird build. It's a build that we don't see often here, but you know, I like that he's mixing things up a little bit.
Does it come back to the idea of like what he was doing against Zergs? It's like by the time you get a Reaper, will it really do anything if you get over to like? That's
true. I mean, the Reaper isn't really meant to deal damage against Protoss. It's meant to scout what could kill you possibly later on in the game. And this map's so huge that I guess a lot of players don't really go for the killing blow kind of thing. They go for Oracle sometimes, given that you can escape the natural and main pretty easily. But I love looking at Harstem's little camera there. It's just, it's just grooving.
Yeah.
Okay, so the CC going down, 1 Rax. The second SCV, in fact, what is this SCV leaving the base for? In fact, going at the top, so making a bunker, playing very, very safe.
Why is this probe sticking around in the middle? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Not a clue. Maybe he wants to know if like a Reaper runs out, given that he didn't get to scout the main base of his opponent.
Yeah, the direction would certainly go for it, but FCV will eventually spot out what's going on over the other side. Maybe the Mothership Core could deny.
I mean, one time I saw ForGG play on this map against Wellmu.
Oh, here we go. So we're back to the yardstick. Let's go.
And ForGG beat Wellmu with mech.
Wow.
But crazy mech. And he did it multiple times in Fragbite as well. So maybe he's seen that, but ForGG's going for a ridiculously greedy, old-school Wings of Liberty build here. 3rd CC before any gases. That is ballsy.
And I think he can get away with it, really, against Harstem. I don't see Harstem changing up. I really don't see him changing up. If he does, I would be blown away. But it's just going to be the Robo to start things off.
That's the thing against Harstem. As good as he is predictable in this matchup. He plays a solid game. We have the Robo going up again, which he's done every game thus far. And I mean, he did try and mix it up on Overgrowth, going for the Stargate afterwards. But in general, Harstem's play is just solid, good play. And ForGG, we saw that he kind of studied Snoot for that 2-Rex play, because he never 2-Rex Vortex. But yeah, he's obviously done his homework. And again, knows how Harstem plays.
And
whoa, 3 barracks? Is this no gas yet?
This is... The gas is being added on after that, but that's a lot of production before those gases.
It's an insane amount of production, and it's crazy play by ForGG. I haven't really seen this build in a long time, or a build quite like it.
And all in all, also ForGG, you know, despite him anticipating his opponent not really changing up things, he's also respecting him quite a lot as well, with that SCV on the right-hand side that's been scouting out diligently for anything crazy that could have gone on.
Yeah, he's still playing very, very safe. I mean, he put up a bunker early on, producing the 3 barracks before like gases and stuff. Again, he's just playing safe with this. What has he actually scouted of his opponent? So, in fact, did he just
probably nothing.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
He saw there was a mothership core up there, and he's like, right, you've spawned up here. Here's the scan. And that reveals the Robo Bay.
It does. That was a great scan. The scan kind of went down as the Robo Bay went down, which was a little unfortunate for Harstem. And it's kind of one of those moments where you're like, darn, like if only I was a second slower there with the Robo Bay, or just placed it like a pixel up, you'd have got away with it. But now ForGG knows exactly what he's up against, which is Harstem. It's Harstem it's the Harstem he played before, which was a very, very good Harstem. And ForGG, he survived with this 3cc.
Hey, Pylon already going down up there. Do you reckon he could switch up this into aggression? I mean, what is he at probe counts? 42? No, he's going into his normal build again. I think this is probably just for the Zealot opens later.
Yeah, I mean, I say if this medevac move out comes out of your opponent at the 9-minute 30 mark, it's better knowing that comes out and he kills a pylon with it than not knowing it's coming out at all.
So the path.
These kind of random locations for pylons, it's good to scatter them across the map. Maybe this was a little early, but you know, he sees what he's up against now with this observer. So let's see how Harstem reacts to this.
All right, well, armor on the way for Harstem once again. Once Twilight Council finishes up, he'll no doubt get Blink to keep himself secure across these bases. Drops can get become a bit of a pain if you don't have your units in the right locations at the right time, especially if you try and expand out onto your 3rd, which ForGG is keeping good eyes on with that Marine. So he will know whenever that is going to be coming down.
Harstem here, he has kind of stopped probe production, thrown down 2 more gateways. Another Colossi coming out. The fact that he stopped pro production has made me a bit like, what's he doing? What's he doing?
Do you reckon he'd go for it?
4 gateways on the way?
Probe's
I don't think... I mean...
No,
it's a long distance to your opponent. You just see that he has landed his 3rd now with that observer over there, but...
It's a gamble, right?
This is WCS, man.
Oh,
This is his first time in WCS Premier League. This is against ForGG. This is cross-map Ultrazim. Do you go for it when you know your opponent's done a greedy as hell build? Man, this is where...
I think you play out your safety. I think Harstem, he's practiced and practiced and practiced his normal 3-base kind of Colossi, eventually over into Templar Archives build. I think he has to play safe.
Going for a cannon here, and probes haven't been made for a while, Clara, so... like, going for a 3rd now, and he goes for it, so... You know... Fair dues.
Excellent casting there, Mr. Baker.
Why thank you. I mean, he's going for the same thing, but ForGG read this really well and just went for a build that he's like, okay, I think I can get away with this. I really do. And he got away with this. And he's scanning. He's still kind of wary about what he's up against. So even he knows the threat that could be, which is a lot of aggression. But 6 Marauders at a time and 4 Marines at a time. He already has 8 racks available, producing Vikings, medevacs. Like, he'd have smashed an all-in if it came right now.
Yeah, it's like think about the supply differences that we saw when Harstem was at like 190 supply to the 140 of ForGG in the previous game. It's almost going to be flipped on its head. Look how fast ForGG is propelling himself forwards, whilst Harstem was supply blocked. So,
yeah, and Harstem, even before throwing up this third Nexus, he was throwing down cannons in his natural and such. So, played extremely safe in this game, and ForGG took full advantage of that, even without really knowing what was happening. And I mean, he did his scans to see like, oh, he could do this kind of 2-base all-in on me, but it was all too late. And ForGG, 50 supply ahead, and they haven't even really seen one another.
yeah. I mean, do you think an SCV pull from here, from ForGG, could just flat out kill Harstem?
It would kill Harstem, but at this point in time, ForGG should not risk it.
I mean, does he even need to look at his army supply in comparison? 109 to 56.
That's what I mean.
Oh,
why risk it?
Yeah.
He's so far ahead. He got away with it. Oh, nice blink by Harstem. He's always done that. He's always defended drops so well, and he knows exactly when they're coming.
Yes, he does. Very good start for him. And all of ForGG's reinforcements are stimming across the map. He gets on top of a few of these Colossi. One of them falls quickly. There's only 2 Vikings there, so he's relying on the bio to really deal out the damage. But the reinforcements for ForGG, they're not going to stop through the middle.
Harstem holds. He really did hold, and he traded very efficiently there. Killed the medevac in the back. And ForGG took a fight that was not that great for him, to be honest, and traded very inefficiently. And as time goes on, while ForGG was in a much better position, the longer that Harstem could stay alive and stabilize and get a few extra Colossi out, the better it gets for him.
Yeah, Harstem will gain traction on this third base as long as it doesn't die or his probes don't die at that location and he isn't forced to evacuate out. ForGG is now going to go for a double-pronged assault here through both of these avenues, try and get on top of these Colossi. One of them ends up falling. Will the second one go down? Yes, it will. A good move here by ForGG to start things off. It's only gateway units from here on out as ForGG looks to plow down this third base location of Harstem. He's losing a lot here. The probes are forced to pull off the line as well. And this is looking bad for Harstem.
Whenever you're forced to pull probes against bio, because they literally do nothing against bio, you're in a tough situation. The third does fall. ForGG doubling Harstem's supply here. At one point, it looked like Harstem could hold the, like, blinking forward, sniping off of those Vikings, but ForGG just wrapped around him. He had so much more. The last Colossi does fall. These Blink Stalkers are doing what they can. He is microing, picks up and goes away, but 67 supply against 128, and ForGG's just rallying across the map constantly.
Yeah, as Harstem tries desperately to re-establish that third base, he's not going to be able to deal with it.
Well played is called. ForGG does make it through the group as second place and breathes a big sigh of relief, as he should, because he went for a very greedy build there and got away with it.
Today was Millennium's day, as Vortex and ForGG are able to advance on here in Group A in the round of 16. Commiserations to Harstem, who, to be fair, he had a damn good WCS season.
He really did. I mean, first season in WCS, he can't be disappointed with himself. And, you know, sits there, we see him on camera, that handsome stud. Like, he really can't be disappointed. He beat Snoot today. Did anybody expect that? I doubt it, but... And then he took ForGG to the limit. He really did, and he showcased an amazing Game 2 against ForGG. So this isn't the last we see of Harstem. Really isn't.
Yeah, I certainly agree. We'll be seeing more of him in the next season. He already guarantees himself around a 32 spot next season, which is good for Harstem coming back, and we'll see him then. But for now, congratulations to ForGG, man. I mean, he made that third game look very, very good, especially with, well, all capitalizing off a greedy opening, really, in the end.
You know, ForGG came into this group and he really showcased what studying your opponents can really do. 2-raxing Snoot in the way he did, that was phenomenal. Against Vortex, well, he's just wild, so you can't really study him. Or you can, but you don't know what you're going to expect. It just scares you studying Vortex. Then against Harstem, he took advantage of safe play and goes through the group.
All right, well, we've heard from one Millennium winner advancing on today. Let's hear from the second in ForGG.
Thank you, James. Yes, with ForGG, well done. Congratulations on reaching the round of 8 for the second time in 5 seasons. A very difficult match, though, against Harstem. You said earlier on you'd not necessarily prepared against Harstem. So what was your approach to the game this time round?
이제 특별히 하스템 선수 상대로 연습은 안 했었을 거지만 이제 게임을 하면서 무슨 생각을 하면서 게임을 했는지 하고 얘기해 주세요.
일단 첫 경기를 좀 너무 쉽게 이겨서 2대 0으로 좀 쉽게 갈 줄 알았는데 하스템 선수가 그 제가 하는 스타일을 좀 이렇게 파악했더라고요. 그냥 유닛이 그냥 본진에만 있어서 두 번째 경기 지고 세 번째 때 사실 이거 되게 오래전에 썼던 건데 세 번째 경기도 수비만 할 것 같아서 그냥 배를 한번 쬐는데 그게 잘 통한 것 같아요.
So actually, in the first game, I didn't expect to win that easily. So I thought I could just 2-0 him. But in the second game, Harstem was really defensive, and he just kept being in the base and waiting for me to attack. So I kind of lost that because of that. And in the third game, because he was so defensively playing in the second game, I chose to just play really greedy, and it worked out very well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that third game because it was very, very greedy. Were you worried at all at any time? Were you thinking, oh, what if he changes? Or were you absolutely certain he was going to play safe?
제가 엄청 좀 배를 쬐면서 게임을 해가지고 좀 걱정도 됐었는지 너무 이제 그리디해가지고.
일단 상대가 올인할 걱정도 됐고 빌드를 사실 이 빌드는 연습을 안 했었어요. 그래서 사실 빌드도 조금 가물가물했고 해서 좀 근데 이기게 된 것 같아요.
Actually, it's been a while that I actually played that build in game 3. I never really practiced it, so I had my doubts a little bit, but I think it was a bit lucky also.
Okay, you've reached the round of 8, as I said earlier on, for the first time since early in 2013. Do you feel relief, or do you feel like it's a satisfied feeling? It's exactly what you should be doing.
이제 다음 라운드에 진출하게 되는데 좀 당연한 결과라고 생각해요. 아니면 이제 해냈다 하면서 좀 뭔가 기분이 더 좋아졌나요?
일단 조가 되게 빡세서 연습을 되게 많이 했거든요. 그래서 일단 16강을 진출한 거에 대해서 굉장히 기쁘게 생각하고 8강에서도 지금처럼 연습하면 4강 결승 갈 수 있지 않을까 생각하고 있어요.
No, I thought it's a really, really tough group, so I trained a lot, and I'm really relieved that I'm through the group and now in the next round. And I think if I prepare as much as I prepared for this group in the next rounds, I think I'll go to the finals.
Okay, bold predictions, we like that. Have you got anything to say to your fans in English at all? Because I know that your English is very good, so have you got any words for them?
Okay. Now, Terran very small, only two, me and Yoda, but don't worry, Terran player fan. I will destroy all Protoss and Jerk.
Okay, great stuff. ForGG is the second man through to our quarterfinals, following his teammate Vortex, who will also play in the round of 8. Congratulations to both the Millennium players. Commiserations to both Snoot and to Harstem, who in particular put up a fantastic fight, and we'll see him yet again in the round of 32 next season. Right, let's catch up with our three men behind the commentary booth who have got their thoughts on our Group A final results.
Good to see ForGG in high spirits, and I'm joined with two other gentlemen who should be in high spirits. It's my partners in crime for the week, Colaris and Ben, the Muslim and James. You see how I did that? An interesting day, guys.
Yeah, pretty interesting. And who would have guessed? We saw, unfortunately, Snoot drop out in last place. I really wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, that was a massive surprise. That wasn't meant to happen, really, was it?
It certainly wasn't. Like, Snoot's been the best player in Europe, best foreigner for quite a while now, and even with his IEM run, like you guys casted the whole thing, he's been on fire recently. In this group, it was no easy group. Like, really anybody could have went out, but Snoot going out, yeah, no.
I mean, let's take a look at the brackets. If you guys are just kind of catching the end of WCS, you can see them now. We had an interesting start to the day with, well, as we said, Snoot dropping down. And then it only got worse as Harstem eliminated him to then fight versus ForGG for second, but it was Vortex who took first place. You expected Vortex to take first place? I'm sure you expected at least top 2, but first?
Overall, I've been on the Vortex hype train for a few seasons now, and it's never really cashed in, but maybe this season, who knows? But it's still going to be a hard road, I guess, past the round of 8, because the lineup that we have to come soon is going to be difficult.
I really held Snoot winning this group, actually. Like, he's just been so solid recently, but anybody really could have won. The only guy that I really counted out, and I feel kind of bad for it now, is Harstem. ForGG, I don't think he's the best against Zerg, but he really showcased knowledge of the matchup and knowledge of his opponents. Like, he really, really did. Hello, Elmu. But yeah, like a really, really great group from all of them. I don't think anybody played badly. I think, yeah, I think it all went really well.
Do you think we'll see Harstem in the round of 16 again? He's automatically qualified into the round of 32 via being in the round of 16. Do you think he can do it again 2 times in a row?
I think Harstem can only get better from here. Like, he's a really young lad. He's building confidence as things go on. He's going to keep on learning. And experience goes a long way. Like, even if you have, no matter how much raw talent you have, experience really propels you in this industry. So Harstem, yeah, you can only expect good things from him in the future.
Yeah, and I think the solid position that he's like cemented himself in PvT, if he works on the other matchups as well in a similar way, you know, that PvT experience isn't going away. It's not going anywhere. Losing to ForGG is no, like, it's no small thing. ForGG's pretty damn good. So if he can do it on the other matchups, he's going to be great.
All right, well, that is us done here. I hope you enjoyed the day. I hope you enjoyed your first day here in WCS and the casters.
Had a splendid time with you fellas, and everybody here is really nice. So yeah, had a great time.
3 more days to go, man. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Loving it.
Loving it. All right, Red Eye, over to you.
Thanks very much to all 3 of you, and of course to our observer Funker, who we've locked up in a cage somewhere in the building. I don't quite know where he is, but thank you for his observing once more of Group A. It is a happy millennium for the 2 players from the French team. Both Fortix and ForGG have made their way through to the round of 8, and not for the first time for either of those 2 players. Tomorrow we're going to move on to Group B. The defending champion MC is in action to see whether he can become only the 2nd player in WCS history to win back-to-back regional titles. He'll have his work cut out though as he goes up against 2 very formidable Protoss players, one of which is an old IEM champion. Ironic really, because alongside him is another IEM champion in the form of Yoda as our last remaining Terran in the championship. Our final thoughts tonight are with a man who has brought me many laughs over the years. Is that a canoe in your pocket, or are you just pleased to see me? R.I.P. Rick Mail. We'll see you tomorrow for Group B of WCS.